Welcome to Apple Stump Bushcraft. We're going to do some comparisons today on cotton for tinder. We have first a round cotton patch, unprepared, not coated with anything. We have a blast or a Strike Force striker, and we'll see if we can get it going. Sparks, no burning. So what we might have to do is pull it apart a little bit and get some of the fuzzy insides showing. And I'm sure it'll take one now. As soon as I get it going, I'll hit the start button on the iPod. Start. We'll add about 3 seconds to the burn time. And we'll give it a little benefit of some air underneath. Usually they have some useful amount of flame to about 40 seconds. Oops. Okay, so it's pretty much done. About 35 seconds for that one. Now we're going to use just a regular cotton ball and fluff it out a little bit. 35 seconds for the round patch. For the cotton ball, again untreated. There we go. We'll add 3 seconds to that one. So that would be 38 seconds on the patch, close to 40. My experience with cotton balls is they go about 20 seconds with any useful amount of flame. And again, we'll give this one a little more air, see if it wants to. See if it wants to burn on the part that didn't catch. Oops, blew it off it there. Okay. My bad. 40 seconds for that one, effectively. Next up is a round cotton patch soaked with my own proprietary, well, it's not my proprietary, but it is my mixture of ingredients. I'm going to rough up the top of it a little bit with my knife because there aren't any fibers there available for the Strike Force to ignite. So there we go. And again, I'll start it when we have a flame on there. I'll start the clock and give it a couple of seconds. Here we go. Okay, that one's gonna go, so oops. Start. Now my experience with this particular blend of cotton and another ingredient is that this is going to burn for about 20 minutes. Coming up on 10 minutes now, and the patch is about halfway burned, and when it gets fully involved like that, it puts out quite a bit of soot. So I wouldn't recommend using it inside of a vehicle or use it for camp cooking unless you don't mind there being soot on your container as you boil water. GSI stainless steel cup would probably be okay if you could suspend it over that. Very little fuel usage. I'm sure it would boil water in 7 or 8 minutes. There we are, 10 minutes along. We'll check back with it in a few. Okay, we're at almost 16 minutes. It's starting to die out a little bit. Still useful. In a previous test I had a steel tuna can underneath it, which I think assisted in keeping the flammable jelly-like material still soaking into the fibers of the cotton patch and wicking, and so I think that's why it went a little longer. You could still get a fire going with that, but not if there was any kind of wind or anything. So we're going to call it 16 minutes nominally for that patch. Next up is everybody's favorite bushcraft fire starter, Vaseline cotton ball. So again, I'll rough it up a little bit so it'll take the spark. Sparks like to have some free fibers. And we got the good old iPod here, a timer. I'm going to slide this cotton ball ahead just a little bit. Don't get too close to that iPod. Okay, so once again we're going to use the strike force. And give it a 3-second notch for free. Looks like it went out. Well, adapt, improvise, and overcome. Let's rough it up some more. There we go, that looks good. And we'll hit it again with the strike force. Can't tell. Now for ease of lighting, this one bites a big one, doesn't it? Maybe I soaked it with too much. There's a pretty good pocket there. Maybe catch some of those sparks. There we go. Decent flame. Now, full disclosure, I've never used one of these cotton balls soaked with Vaseline before. So I'll be finding out for the first time, right along with you, whether or not it's going to work. It's actually making a decent flame right now. And untreated, the cotton ball lasted 40 seconds and didn't have anywhere near that quality of flame, so I think we're already in the plus column. You can see the cotton ball is fully involved now. It's a nice flame, plenty good for starting a fire. Decent kindling, even moderately moist kindling I think would succumb to that flame. And we'll stop again and check back when it's starting to breathe its last. Here we are at going on 6 minutes now, 6 minutes, and that's what we have left of the Vaseline soaked cotton ball. Still quite a useful flame, but it's diminished significantly. I expect it to go belly up here in another minute or two at the outside, so not nearly the endurance of the round cotton patch soaked in the mystery material. A word about the patches, whether it's Vaseline or whether it's something else that's petroleum jelly based. They make a really good cover for a sucking chest wound, provided that they can cover it. A lot of people use a credit card, wipe some Vaseline on it, or a piece of plastic. But these patches, the round ones, can also be used for that. The emulsion that's in them gets kind of liquidy at body temperature and would seal it off very well. So that's another use. Also with the round patches, you could cut them into several pieces and use a little piece to get a fire going and save the rest for future fires that you might need to start. Also with the other patch that was kind of a butterscotch color. And the Vaseline patches as well have some medicinal value, covering wounds, cuts, and so forth. And you could wrap a bandage around them or duct tape or whatever to keep a nice barrier that's not erosive or otherwise harmful to the skin between the wound and the air or the environment. So just think of all the possible uses for these things besides starting a fire. I think this is going to poop out within the next minute, and we may call it prior to that if the flame becomes obviously unuseful for the purpose. You're going to hear a small airplane in the background. We live only about 1.5 miles from a big regional airport. I'm surprised there hasn't been more jet traffic. You can hear cars in the background, and every now and then the neighbor's dog pipes up. Alright, we're pretty much to the end of the useful life of that cotton ball. You could still get some tinder going with that flame, but it's not a very durable one. I think any serious gust of wind that came up would put an end to that one. So we're going to stop this at 9 minutes and call it a very decent 9-minute burn. I flicked the cotton ball out of the way with my knife blade, and it's smoldering on the ground like char cloth, but in the interim my apple stump caught fire. So I'm going to blow that out, and the next step will be a round white cotton patch soaked with Vaseline. Okay, we'll put it in the same spot. Rough it up a little bit so it'll take the spark, as these fire starters like to have thin fibers. So there's some thin fibers for it. Propped up the iPod a little bit better so you can see the timer, which may present a problem here, I don't know. There we go. Awkward position to try to strike that. So we're off and running. Now recall that the previous one lasted quite some time, and I expect this one to do just about as good. Once again, they seem to last longer if you put like a steel tuna can under them, or even you could probably get by with just a square of aluminum foil or a rock that's fairly flat, just about anything, to keep the petroleum-based product that's soaked into them from soaking into the wood like it's doing here, and therefore you get a little more burn time as it remains close to the fibers and wicks into them and continues to burn. Alright, we're nearing the end of the useful life of this particular patch, and we're approaching 7 minutes. I don't know if you can see that or not. I had to move the iPod back a little bit because when the flames were really going, the case that it's in was getting pretty toasty. So I'm thinking about 8 minutes would be the useful burn time for this.